Little Fox.
The Swallow and the Crow. There was once a swallow that lived in the green forest. He was handsome. He had pretty feathers. The girl birds would say,
"Oh, he's so handsome. His feathers are beautiful."
The swallow was proud of his good looks, and every day he looked into his mirror. "Look at my feathers. They are so soft and beautiful. I am a lovely bird." One day, a crow was flying by. He heard the swallow singing, "I am so wonderful. I am so beautiful. I have the best feathers in the world." The crow stopped and looked at the swallow.
"What are you singing about?"
"I am the prettiest bird in the sky. You must be very jealous. You are not pretty like me." The crow became very angry.
"You think that you are so great. My feathers are much better than yours."
"You are joking. Your feathers are black and thick. Mine are light and beautiful." The crow and the swallow began to argue. They argued about who had better feathers. They argued and argued and argued.
"Your feathers may be light and beautiful, but mine are much better."
Nonsense! Only a fool would say your feathers are better than mine. The crow was clever. He could prove that his feathers were better.
"All right, let us go to the wise bird of the north. We will ask her who has better feathers."
"I will go because I like to hear other birds tell me how wonderful my feathers look. The wise bird will choose me." So the two birds flew north to see the wise bird of the north. On the way to see the wise bird, the crow and the swallow passed many birds. All of the other birds thought that the swallow was very handsome.
"Oh, look at him. He is handsome."
He sure is. He is the most handsome bird.
As the birds flew north, the air became cooler. "I am getting cold. It is very cold here in the north."
Yes, it is. The north is very cold. We should hurry to the wise bird's house.
"Yes, let's hurry." As the birds flew even further north, it started to snow. Now it was very cold. The swallow had to stop flying. "I am freezing. I cannot fly anymore."
The problem is that your feathers are not very good. My feathers are strong and thick. They keep me warm.
The crow helped to warm the swallow with his feathers. "You are right. Your feathers are warm. They are very warm."
Whose feathers are better, mine or yours?
"I guess yours are better. I was too proud of my feathers." When the birds returned home, the swallow told everyone what had happened. "Crow saved my life with his wonderful feathers."
Hooray for Crow! "Oh, Crow, you do have nice thick black feathers. They are excellent."
From that day on, the swallow never flaunted his feathers in front of others. The Honest Woodcutter.
Once upon a time, there lived a man named Thomas the Lumberjack. A lumberjack is someone who cuts wood. Thomas was a big man with bushy red hair and a bushy red beard. Every day, with a large wooden axe upon his shoulder, Thomas went deep into the woods to cut down trees. After working hard all day long, Thomas had a mighty thirst. He decided to get a drink. He walked toward the sound of the water, and through the trees he saw a waterfall. It was falling into a deep, mysterious pond. Thomas laid his wooden axe down on a rock near the edge of the pond and bent down to get a drink. As he bent down to get a drink, he heard something. Splash! He looked up and saw a large green frog swimming in the pond, and he laughed. Ha ha ha! It was only a frog. I thought my axe had fallen into the pond. He took one more drink from the fresh water and reached for his axe, but it was gone. He looked around. He scratched his bushy red beard and said, "Where is my axe?" He looked at the frog. "Did you take my axe?" But the frog quickly swam away. The pond looked very deep, and Thomas the lumberjack didn't know how to swim. He was just about to give up hope of getting back his axe when a golden-haired sprite swam up out of the pond.
Is this silver axe yours?
She asked. Thomas was startled. "Who are you?"
I'm a water sprite. Is this silver axe yours?
She repeated.
I heard something fall into the pond.
"No, I had a simple axe made of wood," Thomas answered. The sprite dove back into the pond, and Thomas sat down. "How can I be a lumberjack without an axe?" he thought. While he was thinking, the sprite returned.
Is this gold axe yours?
"What? Gold? I'm sorry. No, I had a simple axe made of wood," he said. The water sprite dove back down into the pond. She wasn't gone long when she returned.
Is this wooden axe yours?
Thomas looked at the axe and smiled because it was surely the axe he had lost. "Yes, that's mine. It's a simple axe made of wood." The sprite gave the axe to Thomas and laughed. Still giggling, she said,
You are a very honest man. I will give you the silver and gold axes as a reward for your honesty.
Thomas didn't know what to say, but before leaving he remembered his manners. "Thank you," he said. The next day, Thomas told his landlord what had happened at the pond. The landlord was a very greedy man, so he took an old wooden axe from the shed, went to the pond, and threw the axe into the water. He waited for the water sprite to come, and after a while she did.
Is this your silver axe?
She asked. "Yes, it is," the landlord replied. "It must have fallen in the pond." The water sprite frowned and looked at the greedy landlord.
You are a liar. This is not your silver axe.
The landlord said, Yes, it. Before the landlord could finish his sentence, the sprite continued,
I collect people who lie. It's my hobby. Do you know how to swim?
The landlord knew how to swim, but he was suddenly afraid, so he lied again. "No, I don't know how to swim." The sprite smiled coldly.
Thank you for lying again. Since you say you cannot swim, I will change you into a frog.
There was a blinding flash of white light, and where the landlord had stood was a large green frog.
Treasure in the Vineyard.
A long time ago, in a small village, an old man lived with his 3 sons. One son was tall and skinny. Another son was short and fat. The third son was somewhere in between. The old man loved his sons very much, but there was one thing about them that he disliked. He disliked the fact that they were lazy. The man tried everything to encourage his sons to work hard. He told them they would be rich. He told them they would marry beautiful brides. He told them that they would be happy and proud in their old age. The lazy sons didn't listen because they weren't interested in work at all. The first son liked to talk. The second son liked to eat. The third son liked to drink. However, each thought work was boring. Many years passed, and the lazy son still lived at home. The tall son was still skinny. The short son was even fatter. The third son was now bald. The old man was very old, very sick and too tired to work. His farm was falling into disrepair, and the vineyard was overgrown and neglected. One night, the old man called his sons into his room.
My sons, I am very old, very sick, and very tired. I will not live much longer. There is something that I must tell you before I die. I have hidden something very special in the vineyard. Find it, and it is yours.
The old man passed away that night, and in the morning the sons talked. The first son asked,
"What do you think Father hid in the vineyard?"
Don't know,
The second son replied,
but he must have put it there years ago. He has been too old, too sick, and too tired to go into the vineyard for many years.
"I agree.
said the first son.
But what do you think it could be?"
The third son guessed.
It must be money, and a lot of it. This farm was rich once. If we find that money, we'll never have to work.
The sons set to work immediately. They cleared the overgrown vineyard of weeds, bushes, and plants. Then they began to dig. Each dug very quickly because each son wanted to be the one to find the treasure. Several years passed, but the sons did not find the treasure. The sons had changed. The first was tall and muscular. He was no longer skinny. The second son had lost a lot of weight, so he was no longer fat. The third son was still bald, but he no longer looked old because he was so healthy from hard work. Each son married a beautiful bride. There was also one other change. The farm was prosperous again because the vineyard had been cleared and cared for by the brothers. The lazy sons were wealthy, but not from treasure. The wealth had come from their own hard work, and they all lived happily ever after.
The Grasshopper and the Ant. Once upon a time, there was a grasshopper who lived in the forest. He enjoyed lying in the grass and singing songs.
La 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 la, ah, what a beautiful day.
One fine day, some ants marched by the grasshopper. The ants stopped to rest nearby.
Hey, you guys, what's up?
We are gathering food. Phew! What a hot day!
A hot day indeed. You ants are foolish. It is too hot to work. Come and enjoy the cool grass with me.
But we have to prepare for winter.
Winter? Winter is months away. We have plenty of time to relax and have fun. Prepare for the winter another day.
But we need to prepare now. Winter will come sooner than you think.
Yes, we don't have much time.
You are so foolish. Prepare for winter when it comes.
Then the ants left carrying their food. The grasshopper was not worried. He had picked enough leaves to last him all day.
I have enough food for tonight. Why should I worry about tomorrow? I can pick some more leaves then.
So every day, the grasshopper sang songs and rested in the cool grass. Then fall arrived. The ants were busier than before.
Hey, you guys, why don't you come and play with me?
We do not have time to play.
Sure you do.
No, winter will come soon.
Silly ant, winter is still far away.
The grasshopper just sang and sang. When he became hungry, he picked some leaves and ate them. But one day, the grasshopper came out of his house and found To his surprise, the earth was covered in cold, white snow.
Brrr, it is very cold outside. Now it is time to gather some food for the winter.
The grasshopper looked and looked for food, but the snow covered the grass, and there were no more leaves on the trees. The grasshopper did not find anything to eat, and now he was very, very cold. He began to shiver, so he went home.
I will find some food tomorrow. I will work hard from then on. Tomorrow, I can find food for the winter.
So he went to sleep without any supper that night. The next morning, the grasshopper saw an ant pass by his house.
Ah, an ant. Maybe he knows where the grass and the leaves went. Hello, dear ant. Where are the leaves and the grass? I am hungry.
You are too late, Grasshopper. Don't you know it is already winter? You should have stored some food. You cannot find leaves or grass now.
Oh, yes, I can. I can prepare for the winter. Just watch.
No, I'm afraid it is too late to prepare for winter when winter has already come.
The grasshopper knew that the ant was right. The grasshopper felt very ashamed of his laziness. Lying cold and hungry in his home, the grasshopper began to cry.
I have been so foolish and lazy. Now I have no food.
The next day, the foolish grasshopper looked for food, but he found none. Now he was certain that he would find no food.
There is no food anywhere. There are no leaves on the trees. There is no grass on the ground. Surely I will starve this winter.
The grasshopper began to cry loudly. The ants heard the grasshopper. The ants were very kind and took pity on the grasshopper.
Look at the grasshopper. He will die if we do not help him.
Yes, we must share our food with him.
So, the ants shared their food with the grasshopper. From that day on, the grasshopper was no longer lazy. In fact, he became the hardest working insect in the forest.
The Country Mouse and the City Mouse. Once, there were two mice, Tony and Rick. They were cousins. When they were young, they lived together in the country. When they grew up, Rick moved to the city, but Tony stayed in the country. Tony loved the country, but Rick did not. I love the country. It's clean, it's quiet, and it's safe. One day, Tony got a letter from Rick. Rick is coming to visit me here in the country. This is so fantastic. I can't wait to see my cousin again.
Hello, Tony.
Hello, Rick. I missed you very much.
I have missed you too, cousin.
Now, Tony had a very humble house. He lived in the back of an old barn. He also had little to eat, just a few crumbs. But he had worked very hard to prepare a nice dinner for his cousin Rick. I have made you a very fancy dinner, Rick. Tonight, we will eat some very nice carrots and cabbage. After dinner was finished, Rick smiled at Tony and said,
Tony, my country cousin, you are very poor. Your house is nothing but a barn and you have almost nothing to eat. In the city, I eat cheese, meat, and bread every night.
Tony looked very surprised. He said with envy, "Cheese, meat, and bread every night?"
Oh, yes, and I live in a beautiful warm house. Your barn is cold and dark.
Tony became very envious of the city mouse. He decided to leave his poor country house. "I want to live in the city. I want to live in a beautiful warm house."
Come with me to the city. You can have all you want.
So the next day, the two mice went to the city. But Tony didn't like the city. "The city is very dirty and noisy. Where are the birds? I can't hear them sing."
We don't have any birds.
"Where are the frogs? I can't hear them croak."
No frogs here.
"Where is the sun? I don't see it shine."
It's behind the tall buildings. Would you like to see my beautiful house?
"Of course." So off they went to Rick's house. The house was indeed beautiful and very large. When Tony saw the house, he was amazed. "What a wonderful house!"
Shh! You must be very quiet or the woman will see you. If the woman sees you, she will kill you.
Tony was very afraid. He did not want the woman to see him.
Let's eat.
When Tony saw the wonderful pile of food scraps, his eyes almost popped out of his head. "Look at this food! I have never seen so much food in my life." Tony began to eat the wonderful food. But then, bam! A large broom came crashing down in front of him.
Run, cousin, run! If the woman catches you, she will kill you.
Tony ran and he ran and he ran. He ran all the way back to the country. He was very frightened. He did not stop running until he was safe in his barn. "I will never go back to the city. I love the country. I am safe here. It is clean and quiet. I love the birds. I love the frogs. I love the sun." Tony never, ever left the country again. The Lion and the Mouse.
One day, a mouse was lost in the jungle.
Oh, where am I? I am lost.
She cried. The little mouse could not find her way back home.
What am I going to do?
She felt afraid and hungry too. Just then, the mouse saw something yellow in the grass.
Oh, boy!
She rushed to it and bit into it. The mouse did not realize that it was the tail of a big lion.
Who dared to bite my tail?
The lion roared. The mouse was quite surprised and trembled.
Oh no. Oh, my king, I am sorry. Please, please forgive me.
What is this? You are nothing but a little mouse,
said the lion.
How dare you bite my tail?
The lion opened his mouth to eat the mouse.
Wait! I am too small to eat,
cried the mouse.
Please, let me go. I promise I will help you someday.
What?
laughed the lion.
How can you, a tiny mouse, help me? Ha ha! I am the ruler of this jungle. I do not need anyone's help. But since you made me laugh, I will let you go. What a funny mouse.
Oh, thank you. But you will see. Someday I will help you.
Then the mouse quickly ran away before the lion changed his mind. A few days later, the mouse heard an awful roaring noise.
Oh my! What could that be? Maybe it is the lion in trouble.
So the curious mouse ran quickly toward the sound. The mouse found the lion captured in a strong net. The lion looked sad. He looked like he needed some help.
Aha! Here was my chance to help him.
The mouse ran to the lion's side.
My king, do not worry. I am here to help you.
Oh, it's you again. But how can you help me?
Asked the lion.
You are too small to help me.
Just watch. I will bite through the net. Then you can escape.
The mouse chewed and chewed. At last, the lion was able to crawl through a hole in the net.
Oh, thank you, Mouse, said the lion. You kept your promise and saved my life. I will never judge someone by her size again.